Welcome to Weekend Wisdom. This is our opportunity at Creating a Family to answer your questions. So please send us your questions. You can submit them via email to info@creatingafamily.org, or there's a link in the show notes and you can click on that. Either way, it will get to us. So today the question is about who we should tell about a match with an expectant mom. And it's from Cass, and she writes, "Hi, Dawn. My husband and I started the adoption process a few months ago, and we just matched with an expectant mom. We're obviously excited, but we also know that a lot can happen or change between now and her due date. My question is twofold. First, although a lot of people in our lives know we are going through the adoption process, who should we tell beyond our immediate families? And second, I'm a small business owner. Since we are adopting a baby from another state, I am expecting to be out for at least a couple of weeks and then back at work on a limited schedule as my husband and I share caretaking duties. Internally, my team is already aware and on board with when all this will happen, and they will handle client requests on my behalf while I am out. But at what point is it appropriate to share with my clients that this change is taking place? Thank you so much." Well, Cass, first of all, congrats on getting a match with an expectant mom so soon. That's wonderful, and I'm really happy for you. So you ask a good question, and you're wise to know that a lot can happen regardless of how far into the pregnancy she is. The often overlooked reality of domestic infant adoption is that it is not uncommon at all for a mom to change her mind and decide to parent. It's one thing to plan in the abstract that you're going to place your child for adoption, but it's another thing entirely to actually go through with it. Plus, she may find some support, be it financial or emotional, along the way in the meantime, that makes parenting feasible. However, although there are no guarantees, the further along in a pregnancy she is, the more likely that she has thought through everything and will not change her mind. And I don't know how far along the expectant mom you have been matched with, how far pregnant she is. I would recommend a really good article we did several years ago called Failed Adoption Matches: How Common, How Costly, and How to Survive. Just Google that. It's on our site, but you can just Google it. It's a terrific article. Now to your questions. Who should you tell beyond your immediate families? The problem with telling people is that almost no one outside of the world of adoption understands how it really works. I mean, most people think that a match is a done deal, that the expectant mom has promised you, i.e. the expectant mom owes you, and they're going to want to throw you a baby shower. As an aside, you can decide what to do about a baby shower, but many people find it hard to live with all the stuff if, in fact, the mom changes her mind. So it's something to think about. For that reason, a lot of people opt for a baby shower that's a meet and greet with the baby after the baby is here. But that's up to you. That's not your question. Who should we tell outside of our immediate family? So the other problem with telling is that if you tell some folks, how do you draw the line of who to tell and who not to tell? You run the risk of hurting feelings. So you told so-and-so, but you didn't tell me, and that could hurt feelings. And the other problem is that it is just human nature. You tell one person, and they feel like, well, I could tell my best friend, or I could tell my spouse, or I could tell, and so it's a domino effect. One person tells one person, and that one person tells one person, and that person tells one person. So pretty soon, a lot of people know. But there are also problems with not telling. Number one, you're excited, and part of the experience is to share it with other folks. I mean, it is an exciting time. And also, if the match does fall through, you're going to experience a real loss. And the more people who know, the more people who can support you and help you through this loss. So I know I've just shared both sides of the coin here. So what to do? And obviously there is no right answer. I guess one of the questions is, how much support do you feel like you need through this process? And that matters. I was not a person, I didn't adopt domestically, didn't adopt an infant, so it was different, but I did not feel like I needed a lot of support for the process, and therefore kept the circle very tight. But that's me, I should add. One thing is that if you're partnered, I think you are, I think you said we, so I think you have a spouse, maybe each of you could tell your best friend and no one else, and ask them not to tell, so that you're each getting some outside support outside of your family if you're feeling the need for that. And whoever you tell, You need to educate them on the adoption process. You need to stress things like the baby is hers until she signs the papers, and that she can't sign the papers until after birth. And things like it's a huge life-altering decision, and many people change their minds. And you can even share some of the stats from our failed adoption match article that I told you about. Use words like, we're cautiously optimistic, or you could say, it's a weird place to be. Maybe I'll be a mom in 3 months, but maybe not. So that you're setting realistic expectations with the people you are telling, so that, because it's not helpful for them to be outraged if the adoption match fails. Their anger and their feeling that you have been done wrong really won't help you grieve. So your second question was, at what point is it appropriate to share with your clients that this change is taking place? It's hard to answer because you don't mention the type of small business, and it really depends on the relationship you have with your clients. You could tell them, and it would be relevant to tell them, that you're planning to adopt. And you could say it's an unknown time frame, but when it happens, I'll likely be out for a couple of weeks and then part-time for a while, but my team is in place to handle all of your needs while this happens with minimal disruption, so that you're giving them a heads up that something, but you're not sharing much of the details. And if it were me, I wouldn't tell them of this match, because I don't know, I wouldn't want to have to go through all the ups and downs of this changing. And I wouldn't want to have to then go back to them and say, well, no, the mom decided to parent. I just don't know. It wouldn't feel professional to me, but then again, I don't know the relationship you have with your clients, and it may be a very close relationship. And as the due date approaches, there could be a client that will be particularly impacted when you take off. And if that's the case, you can tell them on a case-by-case basis. I hope this has been helpful for you. And for everyone else, just a reminder that Creating a Family has a newsletter, and we would love to have you sign up. It's monthly, it's free, and it's the best of the best of what we found that month to share with you. You can subscribe at creatingafamily.org/newsletter. And thanks for listening to this week's Week in Wisdom. If you liked it, please tell a friend to subscribe to the creatingfamily.org podcast. And I will see you next week.